What's up, YouTube family? Bronx Bomber here again with another video. This video here I want to talk about um, big money cards, or vintage cards. Some could be big money, depending. Um, that's why I have the money like this put up in the back for a reason. So I put this money for a reason here because I wanted to talk about, uh, like I said, cards that really hold their value or still cost a lot of money. I know there's a lot of modern cards that do, but when we talk about cards um, that most of the time hold their value are vintage cards. When you go vintage, you can't go wrong. And I found that out a lot, which I already knew, but I found out a lot this week. I went to a card show here in Tampa, and I seen a lot of new cards, expensive, very expensive. And again, the problem with that is that newer players, these rookies, and a lot of these companies have so many different variations of cards. They're so expensive. I'm going to give you an example right now of a card that I have. That is an expensive card. I've showed this card before. I saw this card selling for about three grand. And again, he's a good player, and I want him to be good. But then again, he's not a proven player. So a lot of people put their money into these new players, which are good. I mean, it's good if they can live up to their expectations. Some get hurt, so you never know what can happen. So it's a little tricky. So you gotta know what you gotta do. It's like a gamble. Then again, everybody has a preference. Me, I like vintage stuff. Vintage cards are what I go for. Example of a new modern card. Okay, right here. This Luis Roberts. Okay, I want to show it to you. This Luis Roberts right here, beautiful card. Okay, refractor. This is like a $3,000 card right here. I seen it go for that much at the car show, and this is numbered out of 19 out of 125. This is on card auto right here. Okay, but it's not vintage. Okay, vintage to me is different. Okay, this is what I picked up. Now this one here I picked up. It's a beautiful card. I paid a pretty premium, I guess, but I've seen some worse condition than this. Even a higher grade go for more. So I did good with this card. I want to show it. This is Sergio Page. I mean, I want you to check these corners out. Look how sharp these corners are. These corners are sharp. Bottom too. I mean, look at the centering on this thing. The centering on that thing is beautiful, as you can see. I mean, it got a 3, but again, it's a beautiful card. The only thing I can see, it's like a little, looks like a little, kind of just a little line here. It's the only thing I can see. I don't know if you can pick it up, but I guess that I've seen many examples with, creases over here in the corners all beat up. For a 3, the corners on these things are sharp, and they're centering. I like a card that's center. I don't like cards that are off center. I don't. So this card right here, to me, is way better than a 3 what they gave it. But I like it in the tuxedo, what I call it, SGC, the black. This card pops out. That being said, that's what I mean about vintage. You can't go wrong with vintage. Of course, these cards here are good and all, but vintage, believe me, vintage is the way to go. Vintage is the way to go. So if you're gonna put your money into stuff, put stuff into players that are, that are proven. Or if you got a good hunch on them, then you could go with your instinct. But you can never go wrong with vintage. Like Joey says, vintage, 5, 10, 20 years, you're still gonna have your money and then some. This is always money when you have vintage. Beautiful. Vintage. These are beautiful cars too. Again, your preference. I like vintage always, but I collect